Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning into my LinkedIn Live or YouTube Live if you are joining from YouTube. My name is Gurpreet Korman. I'm a career growth expert that helps career professionals just like you to become top earners in their field. I have helped over 400 career professionals through my coaching program to help them increase their salaries. My clients have been landing salaries increases from 40K to 200K in matter of days. So working with me, that's the results you're going to get. Today, I want to talk about something really, really important, and that's why I'm doing a LinkedIn Live. Also, it's been a minute. It's been a long time since I've done a LinkedIn Live. So if you are tuning in, please let me know where you are. Introduce yourself. Let me know in the comment section. Don't be shy. Feel free to say hi. I feel rusty because I haven't done a LinkedIn Live in a long time. I've actually been doing a lot of LinkedIn audio rooms and got so comfortable that I totally never done a LinkedIn Live this whole year, maybe once. But here I am back. I realized I got too comfortable and I missed doing LinkedIn Lives. Also, in audio rooms, you don't get to do the replay. So who we are, nonetheless. So I see some people are tuning in. Please let me know who you are. Introduce yourself in the comment section. Today, I'm going to talk about 4 resume mistakes you're making that's costing you interviews. I've been doing a lot of resume reviews in the last few weeks, and I've come across this common theme, common problem. The 4 common problems I'm seeing on everyone's resumes is what I'm going to talk about. So I decided to do a LinkedIn Live because this is an important topic that I want to cover. I want to make sure that everyone has access to this live. Now, if you're job searching, please let me know in the comment section if you're job searching and how long it's been. One of the most important document that you will ever create in your job search is resume. Resume is the number one important document that's going to help you land interviews. Without a resume, you're not going to land interviews per se. Okay. Now, without a great resume, you're just going to not land interviews. Your resume can be sitting in piles of resumes as well. So, resume is the most important document that you need if you're job searching. So, let me know in the comment section if you are. And I wanted to talk about, so I'm going to share some slides with you on the 4 resume mistakes that are costing you interviews. And again, as I said, resume is the most crucial document. If you are applying to jobs and you're not landing interviews, I can guarantee you the problem 100% is your resume. There's no buts, there's no ifs. It's the resume. So let's cover today. I'm going to cover the 4 common mistakes I'm seeing people make in their resumes. If you don't already know me, let me introduce myself. My name is Gurpreet Korman. I have nearly 20 years experience working in HR or recruiting. I have recruited for various different industries for various different roles. So I have 20 years of expertise here that I'm leveraging in today to show you the 4 mistakes you're probably making in your resume. Okay. So again, introduce yourself. Let me know if you're excited to know the 4 mistakes you're making. Again, don't be shy, guys. Introduce yourself. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Okay, let me share my screen. Give me 1 second. Okay. A little rusty, as I told you guys. Okay. Oh, here we go. Okay, so 4 resume mistakes costing you interviews is what we're going to talk about today. And let's begin. So, number one mistake I've seen many people are making is the format of their resume. So, I'm going to cover a lot of different things about formatting. One thing, common mistake I'm seeing is a lot of people's resumes are not ATS friendly. Now, I want to talk about this a lot today in an extensive way, but just because there's a lot of talk about ATS. ATS is a lot of talk about resumes, ATS friendly. A lot of people are talking about there's no such thing as a friendly ATS or compliant ATS resume. As somebody who has 20 years of recruiting experience, I have implemented various different ATS. I have implemented the mother of all ATS called Taleo. So if you don't know what ATS stands for, it stands for Applicant Tracking System. I have implemented the mother of all ATS, which is Taleo. I have implemented PeopleSoft, ADP, Ceridian, you name it, I've implemented them. I've also implemented smaller scale ATS form type of ATS for smaller organizations. So there's a different ATS systems. There are a dime of a dozen ATS systems in the market now. The other thing that's happening in the market shift is the AI component has been introduced. We've seen AI happening since a couple of years, but now this year, there's a lot of companies leveraging the AI into their hiring process. So there's ATS/AI in the mix as well. So that's probably why you're feeling a lot of the pinch today as you're job searching as well. So now, as we have obviously grown and technology has grown in so many progressive ways, yes, there are some ATS out there that can read different type of formatting resumes. They can read graphics, they can read columns, they can pick up on tables. But here's the other side of the truth that no one's telling you is that there are ATS that still cannot read those. And what I always tell my clients to do when it comes to resume, if you're going to use a resume to apply to jobs online. Now, remember, ATS only is a factor when you're applying to jobs online. Not if you're actually physically emailing your resume or giving your resume to somebody, then ATS is not a factor. So if you're going to apply to jobs online, which many people are doing, many job seekers do when they're applying, when they're job searching, one of the things they heavily leverage is job postings. When you are applying to jobs online, your resume has to be ATS friendly. It has to be ATS compliant. All these terms just mean it has to be in a format that ATS can read. Okay, so now there's different components here. Anything you want the ATS to read, it has to be in that formatted, ATS friendly. So there are still some ATS that may not be able to read like a column or um, tables, for example, or even headers and footers, right? So rule of thumb that I just follow, make your life simple and just avoid using columns, graphics, and tables. If anything you want the ATS to read, don't put it in any of this. Just keep it text simple. So I'll show you a resume in a second what the format of that looks like. At the end of the 4 mistakes I covered, then I'll show you how your resume should look like. So make sure that anything you want the ATS to pick up, don't put it in a header or footer. Do not put it in columns. Do not put it in table format, and don't put any graphics. You can have graphics on your resume, but it should not be a graph that you want, a graphic or a graph that you want ATS to be able to read it. So those are some of the things you do want to make sure, okay? So you can use headers and footers. You can put information like your name in a footer, and sometimes this may not parse, I think it's parse, parse ATS. Now there's a different ATS that recruitment agencies use. There's a different ATS system that corporations use. So corporate Fortune 500 companies are not using the same system as recruitment agencies. So so now we get a little bit even more complex. So if you're sending your resume applying to a recruitment agency like Robert Half, Randstad, their technology is different from a company that's using. They're not going to be investing money in using Workday or PeopleSoft and so on, because they don't need those components. They just need an ATS component. So a lot of companies are using a full-fledged, we call it HRIS, so Human Resources Information System. And like for Success Factors, Workday, these are HRIS systems that have an ATS component. Then they have a lot more components to it. And now recruitment agencies are just solely using systems that are built for recruitment agencies because they don't need the full on. They just need to manage the candidates, they need to manage the talent pool, they need to manage the resume. So they use a different system. So your resume has to now be a little bit different formatted if you're going to send your resume to a recruiter for recruitment agency purposes. You should just avoid all headers and footers. So like definitely don't put your name in a header, because there's I think it's called Parse tool. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Parse tool. I've worked in a recruitment agency. You can tell that this tool just takes your information and dumps it into the fields, right? So for recruitment agencies, that's important. So if you just want to make your life easy, avoid headers and footers, and you avoid tables and columns. So then that becomes an ATS friendly resume. So your entire resume should be text. That's it, text. Number two thing is your sections. Make sure you do label your sections. You don't have to label all your sections, but make sure you follow a system called, like, first you have an introduction of you, followed by a skills section, and then your experience section, then your education section. Now, dates are really important. For your experience section, make sure your date format is month, year, dash month, year. Okay. So this is really important. I've seen so many resumes where people are just putting the year they worked for. The problem with that is when I'm reading that resume, I don't know if you just put, for example, 2003 and present. So now I know you're still there, but I don't know which month of 2023 did you start. Did you start December 2023, November, or did you start January, right? So timeline, we have to clearly show the timeline. So make sure you follow a format for dates for your experience section to be month, year, month, year. Okay. The other thing is titles. I didn't put it on there, but titles is really important as well. And the way you put your experience section, make sure you have the company name, the title, and then the year you were there. Okay. So just two simple things makes life easy. What you want to do is you do want to make life easy for you, and you also want to make life easy for the reader. So formatting is really, really important. Okay. Now, the second section is the presentation of your resume. Now, this is super important because the way your resume is presented, because the first thing we see, this is important only when your resume is actually landed in front of a human being. Okay. So the first component is get your resume past the ATS and get it in front of a human being. Now, when your resume is in front of a human being, the first thing is the presentation of your resume. So we got the format. Now we need the cosmetics. I call this component the cosmetic component. So like, think of makeup. If you're female, think of makeup. If you are a male, think of your hair, your grooming, right? So this is the presentation, your outfit, your clothes. So when we're going and meeting people, we care about how we're presented, right? The grooming, we take a shower, we put up perfume, so we smell good. Our clothes are ironed. We're wearing that clean, iron clothes. That's the presentation. So the same thing about your resume. The presentation of your resume is important as well, especially if you're starting to get into the six-figure mark. You want 100, 200, 300, 500 plus K roles. Presentation does matter. You do want to look the part. So I always say look like an executive. If you've ever seen an executive's resume, like, they're super high level. Their presentation is so nice to the eye. It has a wow factor. So when someone opens your resume, wow, right away, it's like, wow, right? So there needs to be a wow factor in your resume as well. The presentation needs to be also like there should be nice white lines. It should be easy to navigate. It's easy to understand. So you need to do that. Now, if you don't know what I mean, so let me show example of the first two things that I did share. So the format and the presentation of your resume. So this is a resume that I did for a client. For privacy purposes, I did remove the personal information and I just put my name in it just to prevent, again, for privacy information. Okay, so, and obviously this is not the right number, made up number. Okay, so I want to show you the presentation of a resume. Format and presentation of the resume is really important. So let's go over, so the two things that I'm showing you a visual so we can connect the dots here. So the first thing is your resume. Right off the bat, you should have your name, and right off the bat, put all your credentials behind it. And you can put page one. This is in a header format, your number and your email address. If you want, you can put the city you're in, a province in the city you're in. You don't need to have a full-on address at all. Okay. Now this is a resume I did for an SVP level. So when you are an SVP, a VP, director, an executive, your resume obviously has a little bit of a different tone to it. This is a hook. So first, let's just go over the presentation of this resume. What we want to do is we want to have our contact information, who we are, and then this is what I call a value proposition statement. What are you bringing to the table and how the company is going to benefit from hiring you. Then you have your skills section, then you have your career development and compliments section. This is where you list the company name, the title of the role you're in, and month, year of the roles you've been in. Okay, so now this is nice and clean presentation of a resume. It's easy to navigate as well. So the presentation of your resume should also be when you get into this career section, make sure you summarize in a couple of sentences what you do, and then your bullet should just talk about results. Okay, so if you look at this presentation of this resume, it's nice, it's neat, it's easy to follow, and definitely has a wow factor as well. Okay, so let me zoom out a little bit more so you can see full on. Okay, so this is how your resume needs to be. This is now ATS friendly resume, and then the sections are nicely separated. There is nice white space in the resume as well, so it's easy on the eyes, it's easy to navigate. You do have some stuff that's bolded, so easy to capture the reader's attention. Now, I did this resume for my client who's SVP. So we do have a hook in the beginning to really, the hook grabs attention, and then we want to keep the attention. I did this for each section of the resume, even under each job roles. I did the same thing. I added one hook that really captures that big result my client accomplished being in this role. So like if you see, there's a lot of matrix, there's a lot of numbers, but if you look at the presentation and format of the resume, it's nice, it's clean, it's like wow, right? Now, if you really want to kick it up a notch, obviously there's a lot of different things we can do. I have different versions of this resume. This is an ATS friendly. Then there's one where we do have a little bit of graphics in it to create that illusion of wow factor, which then that's not applied to jobs for online. That's a resume we're handing in. So it's really, really important that your resume has those wow factors and the presentation is nice and clean as well. We do want to make the reader's life easy and not complicate their life. Okay, so easier the reader can follow your resume, easier it's going to be for them to contact you. Okay, so presentation does matter. Now, the bullets and messaging. Now, this is where I see a lot of times when I'm reading resumes, the resumes I've reviewed and provided feedback, when I'm reading the bullets, the messaging is off. Like I'm reading it and I'm confused. Every resume that I've reviewed in like this, every week I'm reviewing resumes. That's a service I do provide. So I've come to these are the 4 common mistakes I see in everyone's resumes. When it comes to bullets, there's really like you read it and you don't understand what someone's saying. The other common mistake I see in the bullets is overload of keywords, and like a lot of times people are so focused on having all the keywords, so in their bullets they're just adding a bunch of stuff and it's like what, so the messaging is lost. And then there's also grouping of multiple things and then keeping your bullet points very generic. I've also seen where um, multiple things are being said in one bullet, and the messaging gets lost. So the key in your bullets is that you want to make sure that when the reader's reading your resume, they can visualize it. It's like they're already in that role. You got to understand, when someone's reading a resume, you're not sitting next to them to explain anything. So make sure that your bullets are clear, your messaging is clear. Your resume bullet should tell a compelling story, leaving no room for confusion. You don't also want to what you want to avoid is assumptions, right? We don't want to leave anything to chance and leave things for the reader to assume things. Again, you're not sitting next to the person who's reading your resume to connect the dots for you. That's why resume writing, the effective communication on your resume, is the most crucial component in your resume. So if you're applying to jobs and you're not landing interviews, I can tell you that you're probably losing out in the messaging of your bullets. I just reviewed a resume today and same thing. I couldn't understand what I was reading. So when a recruiter or HR or hiring managers, they're reading your resume and they don't understand what you're saying, they're not going to sit there and try to figure things out. So again, this is a deadly, costly mistake that many people are making in their resume that's costing you to land interviews. Now, language. Language is really important. Make sure you are using the language that the company is speaking. Now, how do you know what language to use? It's in the job posting. I actually did this a couple of weeks ago with my client inside my 6-figure group coaching program. She wanted to apply to a role she saw online. And what we did was I helped her craft a custom written resume based on the job that she wanted to apply to. She was so conditioned. She works in a talent acquisition space and she has 25 years. She just wanted to say all the things that she wanted to say. And where I was like, no, listen, look at the job posting. Look what they're looking for. Look, they've written everything down. We got to use the words that they're using is the words we want to use to communicate to them. So language is really important. Now, the language comes down to when you're applying to jobs online. This is where the customization happens. So it's not you got to tweak your resume. It's not just have the right keywords. It's how we use the same wordings, the same language that they are using in their job posting or the way they talk to communicate into their language. So we got to make sure that this is key component here. Okay. Also, when they're reading the resume, they do have to feel, oh my God, I need to call this candidate. So language is the key here as well. So this, I see another mistake a lot of people are making on their resumes is that they're using the words they want to use instead of using the words that your reader uses. The reader, now, if you're applying to jobs online, this is easy to do because your job posting is the key here to make sure that as you read the resume, you're using the exact wordings, the language. I'm talking about language. You still have to tell a story with it, but you still want to use that language. Okay, the wordings, the language has to be matching to the one they speak. Okay, so these are the 4 costly mistakes that everyone whose resumes are reviewed are making. So summary, number 1, stand out with the powerful format. So make your format is ATS friendly and it's easy to navigate. The reader can connect the dots. It's easy for them to follow. Number 2, ensure a smooth reader-friendly experience. So we want to leave the reader with wow experience. We have to make the reader's life easy. Your resume has to be easy to navigate. It's easy to connect the dots. We can't leave anything up to chance. Number 3, crafting a compelling career storytelling. You do have to use the element of storytelling in your resume, okay? And lastly, make your language magnetic, memorize, memorable, impactful. And this is where we're going to leverage the same language that the employers are using. We have to speak in their language, not the language we want to speak in. This is going to help you turn your get those interviews. So these are the 4 costly mistakes that are costing you those interviews. Now, if this was helpful, tell me in the comment section. Let me know, put a thumbs up, put a like on this live as well. Now, if you don't know how to do any of the things I just walked you through, good news for you. This Saturday, October 26th, I think it is. Yes, October 26th at 11:30, I'm actually going to teach you my proven resume writing process, the blueprint of writing a resume that is interview worthy, resume that converts into interviews instantly. Fast way to land interviews. Again, the most important key document that helps you land interviews is your resume. This is one document that you can't take a chance on. You can't leave things to chance. You can't be wishing and praying. It's the number one skill you need if you want to land interviews. You do need to know how to write a resume, how to effectively communicate in a way that influence, actually. You have to know how to write a resume that influence the other person to pick up the phone and call you. This is the art of copywriting. If you a copywriter, then you know what I'm talking about. I have learned copywriting from experts, and it's the element that I use when I'm crafting resumes or teaching my clients how to write resumes or using the framework of copywriting. Because copywriting is one tool that has mastered on how to influence the other person, influence the human being. Resume is all about influencing someone to take action. So we want to influence, and the action we want them to take is to call us for interviews. A human being is the one that's going to decide if they call you for an interview. Keep in mind that your resume does has to land in front of a human being in order for them to then decide if they want to interview you or not. Recruiters have also said in less than 5 seconds, they've decided if they want to read your resume or not. You have less than 3 seconds, less than 5 seconds. I say less than 3 seconds to grab someone's attention. You equally have less than another 10 seconds to keep their attention. Not only do you want to grab the reader's attention, the problem in the world we live in today is that we are distracted. We have smartphones, we have social media, we have a lot of notifications going off. So people's attention span today, research shows, is less than 3%. So you have less than 3% to grab someone's attention. So you have to grab their attention, okay? And not only do we want to grab it, we also want to keep their attention. So you got to grab, you got to keep it, and then we got to get them to influence them to take action. So I have a proven 6-step system and writing a resume that is interview worthy, that will convert your resume into one that lands interviews. I've been using the system for 6 years with my clients. Previous to that, I was using it as a career professional myself. I've been teaching this process for over 5 years now. I think I've been teaching this more than 10 years. But this process of mine of interview writing has helped thousands of people go from not landing interviews to boom, easily land interviews. So if you want to land interviews, then this is one workshop that you don't want to miss. I'm hosting this workshop on this Saturday, October 26th, starting at 11:30. This will be a 2-hour workshop, and then we'll have Q&A. I'm also gonna throw in my prompt scripts for ChatGPT. These are my own custom created prompt scripts for ChatGPT, not generic ones that everyone's giving out there on the internet. These are my own custom ChatGPT prompts to go with my system that's going to help you speed up your resume writing. Next thing I'm throwing in, I also invited some of my recruiter friends in my network to also come and share their knowledge. and how they recruit, what they like to see in a resume. So the more knowledge you can have, knowledge is power, right? Also, we'll be having a networking where you can actually network with these recruiters. So I've handpicked some of the recruiters in my circle to come and do the session as well. So we will have the first an hour and a half will be the workshop, and then the next hour would be with recruiters. So this is one workshop you don't want to miss. Scan the QR code and save your spot and register now. Now, I am charging for this workshop. Normally, if you want to work with me on one-on-one to write your resume, I charge $3,000. So I put this workshop, I made it super affordable because I truly, honestly believe that this is one skill that every career professional should know how to do. Just like we get our degrees and our certifications to know how to do our job, it's equally important to know how to write a resume because it's the number one skill needed to land interviews. If you're not effective communicator on a resume, you can be damn good at what you do. You can be a master, genius at what you do, but no one's going to call for you in an interview. That's the sad truth, is your resume. And this is where a lot of people struggle, is resumes. Now, you don't even need a resume writer to write your resume. Also, one thing I've noticed is a lot of people do hire resume writers. Resume writers are only going to write what you supply them with, the information you give. What I see with this is a lot of times people are just giving general information of what they've done, the first thing that's coming up. In my process, we're going to dig deep and analyze your entire career, what you've done, before we can even write a resume. So there's a lot of pre-work. So this workshop will help you get the pre-work done that's needed to write a resume. And if you don't want to write a resume, you can go and hire a resume writer and they can be able to do it. But I guarantee you will learn how to write a resume that lands you interviews if you attend this workshop. And I made it super affordable. It's only $47. $47. That's like not even $2 a day. So where can you find $2 a day? Hey, you can cancel your Netflix subscription. Any subscriptions you have, you can cancel them. Again, it's only temporary. If you are somebody who goes to Starbucks latte is like $3, $2 to $3 plus. That's another way to get the money. So you can find the money to invest in this workshop. It's the number one thing you need if you want to land interviews. You do have to have a resume that is interview worthy. So workshop is called Interview Worthy Resume. That's going to help you convert your resume into one that lands you interviews. I'm going to drop the link in the comment section for you to sign up. Okay, so I dropped the link, sign up for my workshop that's going to help you land a resume that lands you interviews. Okay, so let's see if anybody has questions. No questions? Okay, so thank you so much for tuning in. Register for my workshop, and I'll see you guys on Saturday inside. And this is one thing I always get asked is the workshop going to be recorded? Yes, workshop is going to be recorded. You will have access to the replay. I'm also giving out templates, done for you templates. There will be workbooks to go with each component, each step. I'm also giving template. I'm also going to give you the resume that I just showed as an example. I'm also giving you template, plug and play template, meaning I have a resume template that basically you kind of just plug in and it's pretty much kind of like done for you. Half of it's already done. You just got to fill in the blanks. It's making your life easy. And then the resume ChatGPT prompt scripts to go with it as a bonus. The second bonus is the recruiters that are going to be roundtable with recruiters. So make sure you're in there, secure your spot. I've made it super affordable. Everyone's been asking me to make something super affordable. I've listened to you and I've done it. Sign up for my resume writing workshop called Interview Worthy Resume this Saturday at 11:30. Okay? Have a good afternoon.